Shake my hand. Shake my hand.
Oh, yeah?
Shake my hand.
What'd you get there? What'd you get there? What's going on, all you alpha alligators? My name is Mason.
And my name is Grayson.
And welcome to The Modern Dude.
A podcast by dudes, for dudes, helping dudes become better dudes.
Dude!
Society, as dudes, has deemed us to be the most powerful or strongest or mentally tough. And that's the alpha man. And sometimes this can be okay to strive after those qualities. However, if it is followed too often, or if it is everything that you put your energy to at all times, not only can that be very unattractive to the people around you, but it also can be harmful to yourself and your own mental state. Today, we want to discuss the concept of the alpha male.
Yeah, like Grayson said, there is two sides to this coin. Mm-hmm. Being the alpha male in a positive light is a very good thing.
There are qualities to it that are actually very good, and that's kind of what we want to debunk, I guess, specifically, right?
There's, like you said, two sides. So like they're striving to be the best version of you, striving to be, if it's in the gym. If that's in your career, if that's, you want to be a leader, those are all good things to strive for. Yeah. And that's A-okay. And that is you working on yourself to better yourself.
Right.
But then on the flip side, the negative traits of the alpha mentality that society has, deemed that all men should be.
Right.
Can be really harmful because it doesn't leave room for listening
or any sort of like sensitivity.
Yeah.
Or empathy.
And it can make guys, posture way too much. Mm-hmm. And that posturing can lead to really toxic behavior sometimes.
100%.
And I think that's something that people talk about for sure, but it's I think the more people talk about this, as almost all the topics we bring up on this show, it will help debunk, and it'll help people and guys specifically, it'll help dudes be more cognizant of how that affects them in their life, and if they suffer from that, or if that's something that happens with them. And to be fair, I think it happens with almost all guys. Like, sure. I think it's part of our DNA even, and it's part of our society. Like, testosterone is just that's like
flowing through the veins.
Yeah, I mean that's
Papa.
just part of what we do. When it's part of that fight or flight thing. Like, you buck when somebody does something to you or says something to you that you want to like snap back at them, right. or you get jazzed and you're like ready to fight, you're ready to go. Yeah. And in today's society, that you just can't do that. That shit was totally 1,000 years ago. Yeah. Like you just, it can't be the sole way that guys go about their daily
and
life anymore.
Operate. Yeah. I think there's a way. Another thing that sucks about what society has sort of, put on guys is the idea that the only way to win, the only way to be alpha, or the only way to be successful is to be brutal.
Assert your dominance.
Dominance, is to be, a shark, is to be so no holds bar and, whatever it takes to win, I'm going to fucking do. And the idea of that is great, but in real practice, you just come off as a giant dick, and you wind up being, I think, it's a difficult mental state, I think, to be in, because when you're always rolling on that and always trying to be on that, that doesn't mean there's another way to win. It doesn't mean that that's the only way to win or to be successful or to make it in whatever way. And I feel like to be alpha, I feel like that word is so overplayed now and weird, and people have a certain way of thinking what it is, when being alpha to me is going for what you want to do and being confident about it, and making those sacrifices and choices to better yourself. If you really want to go after a career or something, if you really want to go for something, you can still be alpha in the way that you orchestrate your life. But that doesn't mean that it also has to bleed into how you interact with other people, or how you treat, society around you, or how you think you need to be to get to that point. And I guess that's my biggest issue about the word in general, because I think it always gets this bad rep, and it's just toxic alpha. Well, can be a different thing.
It's interesting because it does. I think there are in some lights it's used very positively.
Yeah.
Like the alpha male is when you hear that word that way, the alpha male, you think of Adonis. You think of the perfect man,
big crush on Adonis over here. He went straight to Greek.
No, but it is. It's you think of the alpha male, the warrior, that kind of thing, right. The Greek, the Greek body and the
loves Greek guys.
Jesus Christ! Wow. Anyways, whereas then alpha mentality can, I think, have a negative side to it,
right?
But it also can have a positive.
But alpha mentality, I think that's the thing I'm trying to say, is that alpha mentality can be a very good thing if it's not bleeding into every facet of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You know?
And like we said in the intros, it's I don't know. It is a fascinating subject, because you do want to be the best version of you, but you also don't want to be an overbearing dick all the time.
The best version of you is not an overbearing dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's some things preached in, just even in commercials and
it's all around us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all around us, the way that it's kind of framed for us to believe it to be a certain thing. And it's funny too, because you say when you think alpha, you immediately went to a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
And we've been programmed to think that if you're big and you're strong, you're better, or you're more alpha, or you're more whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting, because there's just so many people that aren't that and are incredible and are winners. And and I think a lot of that toxic, I'm the first one that wishes he was in the gym more. I'm the first one that wishes he was more fit. I'm the first one that
we all do.
And I applaud people that can, because that does take so much discipline, and that does take so much work. And I am always in awe at people that really have, find the time and really dedicate themselves to it, because it affects more than just your body. It affects your mental. It can affect everything.
Oh gosh,
in a positive way.
Endorphins releasing, baby.
Yeah, but it also there can be a lot of pressure that you're putting on yourself with this self-image of being this thing, because you think as a guy, the bigger and the stronger I am, the better I'm going to be.
Mm.
And the best that you can be isn't here. It's here. And it's here.
But they all go to, wow, look at you.
Was that good? Did you like that?
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
that just kind of came off the cuff.
Gotta tuck my Adonis boner in now.
It's not. Greek guys. Love the Greek guys.
No, that's so true. It's a whole package thing, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That alpha mentality has to do with the mental and with the physical.
For sure.
But I think there's also we wanted to talk about how dealing with that alpha mentality when it's toxic is I think there's a way to go about that.
Yeah, which is that's a very tricky topic, because
you don't want to put people in their place, and you don't want to call people out in the moment.
No.
But I think there is didn't you have a thing that you pulled up about how to
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think
I guess this is kind of under the what's a dude got to do, but we've got some other topics, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, when we think about like real world examples of alpha posturing, me and Mason were in a bar recently, and we saw a guy kind of trying to kind of demean or try challenge, assert dominance,
which is
in a way to another guy that we know. And it was like to the point where he was like taking his shoes off and being like, let's go outside right now, barefoot foot race. I bet I'm faster than you. Huh?
It's like it comes from and that it's a lot of this alpha mentality when it's fake comes from a false sense of
obviously insecurity.
Yeah.
Obviously it's insecurity, but it's so like because listen, as much as we want to make an impact and we want to whatever, and we are also the first to say like, you know, sometimes you always fall to it, sometimes you whatever, but like I have practiced, and I think Mason has too, really hard to go into situations not being like that. It's just kind of not who I've ever been. Like I don't really.
That's not something that you've struggled with a lot.
Yeah, but like I also don't want to sit here like I'm better or anything. No, like I've still struggled with it,
course.
But
well, you don't want to like back down from someone being a dick or be, you know, you'll buck and be like, whoa, what the fuck?
But it's about how you handle that person. Like if and our friend who we know handled the situation incredibly well.
Yeah.
And you know, just sort of like kind of chalked it off to be kind of a joke, and you know, he was like, "Nah, you know, I'm good, man. I'm good."
And then eventually,
we're running all day, so you know, I'm tired. You know, and just sort of separated himself from it. So I guess that to me, as much as we want that to not be the situation, there's just gonna be guys that do that. There's always gonna be dudes that do that, and for you as a dude, when you're approached by somebody like that, I think that's when we were kind of talking about like, what's the right way to handle that? Because the easy snap decision way is the testosterone build in our man bodies going, well, I gotta put this guy in his place.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta step to this guy or whatever. And it's harder to, I feel like you really are winning in the situation if, and like here I am like even still making it like a competition, like, well, you win if you do this. It's like, this isn't what we mean. I just mean like diffusing a situation like that is always better than feeding into that negativity and that insecurity. The posturing. Yeah. I think, you know, you're absolutely feeding into them if you take off your shoes and go, all right, let's go outside. Like, or you can be like, you know, I'm good, man. And if it continues and it's still whatever, I think at a certain point it comes to you just separating yourself.
Yeah.
And just needing to be like, hey man, look, fun talk tonight. I'm gonna
or just move on from the conversation if you can.
Or talk to something, or talk about something else or whatever. Or just be like, hey, I'm here with some friends. I'm gonna go hang out with them for a little while. You know, I'll check you. I'll check you later or something like that. That's not always the case because sometimes that testosterone, that build up, that alpha gets the best, and somebody just doesn't leave you alone.
Yeah, when I was a young warthog.
I knew you were going to say that, and I almost just sang it out loud just now, but you beat me to it.
When I was a young warthog. Wow, you did that well.
Thanks, man.
Do you have a music career?
I'm an only child. It's really just that. Me in my room doing Pumbaa impressions.
Yeah. You're more of a Timon.
I'm definitely more of a Timon. But what does that make you?
The Pumbaa.
Is he Simba?
Moving on. I'm not fucking old or wise in that way, but I'm 34. But when I was in my 20s, when I was in my 20s, I definitely struggled with this more than I do now.
Sure.
I definitely had. I wouldn't say I was a hothead, but I had a hothead. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like internally, I would be ablaze, and externally, I'd be like trying to keep it together, kind of thing. And that wouldn't always. Obviously, sometimes that was boil over.
Right.
But like when people would say shit to me, and I still do it every once in a while. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. When people would say shit to me, that was inflammatory, I would absolutely want to like buck up and be be like, oh yeah, well I'll blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it's literally part of our build up. It's how the society deems what we do. I'm down to like, I was having a conversation with a guy in the bar just yesterday about how like we were programmed when we were kids to like be ready to go to war at any, like when we went to like gym class, they were like making us do laps and like getting us trained. It's so funny to think
climb the rope.
Literally,
fuck the rope climb.
That's what I mean. But like, there's literally like from an early age, we were programmed to be like, who are the kinds of people that are going to succeed in a military sense, or like it's weird. But yeah, I definitely used to the posturing, bucking, trying to be the big tough guy in the room. Talk the shit to people who were like like bumped me in the bar and then like started like talking shit. Like,
look where you're going, bro.
Yeah, and I try to fight that instinct now, that urge, because that is not the alpha male.
No.
That is not the alpha male. Walks away from shit like that.
Exactly.
The alpha male diffuses things.
Yeah, or like is like, oh, sorry, man. Even if it wasn't his fault.
Yes.
The
alpha male rises above. They don't 100%. They don't stoop down to the stupidity of brutish
as
mindsets.
Does the modern dude.
Exactly. The modern dude rises above. And even if you could crush the person like a grape, that doesn't mean you should.
No.
You know?
I could go out and buy a gun and kill everybody, but not gonna.
That's all what we have time for now. No, but that's essentially what we're getting at, is like being physical, like, trying to be in a good shape and physically aware and physically fit and then mentally sharp and all that stuff. That's all great stuff. But then if you use it for the wrong thing, then you're not the alpha male. Then you're just a brute.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Boom, there you go. Spidey. So I don't know. I feel like that's on the, like, as far as like how you handle mentality, and
you just rise above. And again, like I was saying, I feel like there will be people that'll watch this one and be like, well, I mean, you can't always do that. Sometimes dudes in your face. I don't condone violence. We don't condone violence here, not in any way, shape, or form. And I do understand that it's a different story if somebody is starting to put pressure in a way that is, physical, or like won't, like, if you rise above and you continue to try to do that, you should try to continue to do that as much as you possibly can in the situation. Separate yourself, move apart.
Yeah,
absolutely. If the person is just relentless and really wants to get up and starts being physical, it doesn't leave you a lot of choices, and that sucks. But
and that's when you karate chop them in the throat and kick them in the balls.
You got a Ray Macchio over here.
Oh yeah.
Don't do it anymore.
I might.
Okay. So
no,
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
It sucks.
You never want to have to do that, and in any instance possible, you defuse before that shit happens.
Right.
Not that we have to say this to people. No. I think that's kind of obvious.
Right. But like that's the best thing that you could possibly do. Is diffuse.
Here's the thing, like, especially if you are someone who like is in good physical shape, and also like you do jujitsu, and then you know how to handle yourself. Yeah. Then you definitely need to be able to know when to not do that.
I think that comes with jujitsu, is the discipline.
Well, then you realize, then you have to rise above and be like, I could actually hurt this person, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to diffuse. Like, my brother is kind of a human weapon. Yeah. So from the time he was young, way before the UFC phase, way before any of that, like, he was doing martial arts and doing all this stuff, and he's always been really gifted physically too. And then he went to the military, and then he trained with jiu-jitsu for a long time, and he's like really tall, he's really strong, but he has to realize that if he got into a fight with someone, he could
kill somebody.
He could literally kill somebody.
Or like hurt them for life.
Yeah, and then you're fucked, and you're fucked up in your head because you destroyed some poor schmuck, and then you also like the legal ramifications, So like that alpha mentality has to be checked because it can just put you in some really shitty spots.
Can lead you down a really terrible path.
Yeah. And then also like
and all it takes is just a second of losing your cool.
Exactly, man.
It's over.
So like the more you practice being chill, the more you practice having that Zen mind about like you don't have to assert your dominance. You don't have to be the biggest dude in the room.
Right.
Physically, you can take a step back and assess the situation and play it cool,
Yeah, and on the flip, being the other person who's the one that's maybe bucking and insecure, like that's on the flip side. Like, really think about if what you're doing and if it's really worth it, because
and like in the
10
moment,
times out of 10, it's not.
Don't do it in the moment. Do it in your daily life, being like, yo, I've definitely done that recently, or I've done that. That's my go-to. Check that.
Yeah.
Have a nice conversation with yourself. Talk to your friends about it. Be like,
or do something else to like filter that anger.
Yeah.
Go work out. Go play video
Release
games.
Those endorphins.
Go do something else.
Yes.
Have a hobby. Do something else that you can channel that anger instead of in the moment getting
punch trees.
That sounds painful.
There's people that do that though.
The tree punchers. Yeah. I see them on Riverside all the time. Good people.
They're great. They're releasing those endorphins, that anger, man. Just
doing what we're talking about.
Yeah. Who needs a chainsaw?
When you got these chains right here.
I
don't know what's
going
on.
There are people that have you not seen the videos of people like punching trees down? They're like dead trees and they're just like knocking them down.
What are you talking about? I've not.
There's also like the like in karate. There's like There's like I don't know what they're called. The like stands where you like pop, pop, pop. You like essentially.
Oh, I do know those. Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That always freaks me out. I'm like,
well, yeah, their knuckles are like
my gentle piano fingers can't handle that. Well, I think that's the full circle.
It's so interesting because
because
there really are those two sides of, and like because like you do want to be that guy, you want to be able to handle yourself, but you also have to have the mentality that you don't need to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's just far more attractive to people when you are the full package, or you're striving for the full package of the balance of strength and determination but also keeping it balanced, keeping it chill, keeping
like
it
looking
nice
like you could destroy someone, but then not doing it.
Ooh, there's power in that. That's fucking alpha. That's true alpha, baby.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the meat rocket that like flies off the handle at any given moment because someone like brushed you in a bar.
Not
like
meat rocket.
Yeah.
I don't like that phrase. But he's not wrong. All right. Well, I think that was pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
For what?
For being you. Okay. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the discussion today, dudes. If you have any questions, comments, or general kerfuffle, make sure to visit us at graysonmason.com or on all social media platforms at The Modern Dude. And don't forget ye, those who have listened to this podcast for the past 30 or so odd minutes. You got it. Do your due diligence. You fucked that up, man.
What's going on, guys? What are we doing?